I, female, 27, was abandoned by my husband Charles, male, 25, when I was 21 because he found out I was pregnant and didn't want anything to do with me. The marriage, albeit short, was over as soon as I saw his reaction to my pregnancy, and eventually Charles stopped paying for my child support too. He knew my daughter Kyra, female, 5, and was present for the first few months of her life. This was when he paid child support and waxed poetic about trying his best to be there for our kid. Eventually, I guess the need to party and bang other girls took over his alleged love for his daughter, and he moved somewhere up north after a while. I didn't bother pressuring him for child support or even to initiate contact because it felt like it wasn't worth it. At the same time, I was blessed with a good workplace and a supportive family, which made raising Kyra as a single mom much easier. I documented her whole journey growing up online and started a blog for single moms with handy tips and resources. It's gotten pretty popular as of late, and I've even been invited onto some local talk shows, and it's always been a good way to earn extra money to put towards Kyra's future. I use all the money I get from sponsorships or partnerships to put towards a college fund or her immediate needs. I do understand the concerns people have about shoving a camera in their kids' faces 24/7, but I'm not taking it to that level. It's a fun activity for both me and my daughter. Anyhow, Charles messaged me a year ago when he happened to be back in town and wanted to meet up. I didn't want anything to do with him, but he constantly said that he wanted to meet Kyra. I've always maintained that I won't dictate Kyra's relationship with her father, so I did want them to meet. With that principle in mind, and more than a few misgivings, lol, we set up a day at a petting zoo with Kyra. I won't lie, Charles did act like an amazing person with his daughter, and she definitely enjoyed being around him. After everything was over and I put Kyra to bed, I thanked him for showing me how much he had matured as a person and asked him to stay in Kyra's life if he wanted to. Since then, he's visited or planned outings whenever I have time, and they've all gone quite well. The matter of Charles's missed child support payments is still there, but to be honest, he hasn't raised the issue, and I honestly don't need his money right now. As we got to becoming co-parents, I found out from some of his friends that he's had money troubles and is usually flitting between odd jobs, so I felt awkward bringing it up anyway. Despite our relationship being on the uptick, I didn't consider Charles to have much authority over Kyra's life. He needed to be with us for longer and prove himself before I could give him that chance. But he doesn't see it that way. Recently, Charles has been constantly talking about the danger of social media and its influence on kids' celebrities. He's implying that I'm exploiting Kyra and not being subtle about it. Now, I get it, I really do. It is a thing that does happen, but I have thought about the consequences and made sure that I never forced Kyra to take part in videos. She's a kid and sometimes doesn't feel like doing a video or going out, so that's completely okay. In fact, it's something that I've been very vocal about when I do get asked questions about people making channels and content out of their families. Charles finally spoke up about it during a lunch he set up and said that he wasn't comfortable seeing his daughter in front of so many people. I was already irked about the kind of entitlement he showed over Kyra's life and my choices. Legally speaking, he didn't have joint legal or physical custody and doesn't have a leg to stand on when it comes to stopping me. I do think I was too accommodating to him after he came back into our lives, and that's made Charles feel like he has a say in Kyra's life. I pretty bluntly told him that it wasn't his place, and it was ironic for him to express concern over my way of bonding with my daughter and teaching other single moms. The argument got ugly, and Charles claimed that I was ruining Kyra's life. After that, I kicked him out and have been seething over it when something happened that made me feel even more angry. A couple of days after the fight, I was at home with Kyra working on my schedule and content calendar since I had some time off from my day job. To my surprise, someone rang my doorbell, and that someone ended up being a CPS worker who had been asked to do a wellness check. I kept my cool and answered all her questions and even let her speak to Kyra in private. Afterwards, she told me that there didn't seem to be any cause for concern, and she said she'll reach out to me if there were any further concerns. I immediately knew that it was Charles' idea, which was confirmed after I called him back and spoke to him. He said that it was his duty to do it, and I had enough of his lack of awareness and how bad that made me feel. I know for a fact if word got out about this, people would try and cancel me and cut off Kyra's money for the future. I had enough of Charles in my life and regretted the space I had given him after he came back. I told him that he was no longer welcome in my house or around Kyra, and that escalated into Charles shouting at me, "There's no way you can keep me away from my daughter, you bitch." Long story short, I dragged his ass to court for unpaid child support, something I could have done long ago if I was a bit more litigious. I didn't want to go down this route, but it revealed Charles's character even more. Faced with either fines or jail time, he left me a voice note threatening to take Kyra away from me and live a better life somewhere else. I was scared, genuinely scared. After speaking to some people, I decided to get a temporary restraining order against Charles. It was approved, and since then, I've not heard from him again. Obviously, this has taken a toll on Kyra, and I'm worried that I'm ruining her perception of her father. I was pretty secure in my decision to get a restraining order, but I can't shake the feeling that Kyra will resent me for my choice later on in life. AITA for placing a restraining order on Charles and effectively ending his relationship with his daughter. Update 1. I've started to feel more guilty now because I got a message from one of Charles's friends. He did preface everything by saying that my ex hadn't asked him to do this, but he wanted me to know the effect not seeing Kyra had on him. Apparently, Charles was extremely remorseful of the things he said and admitted that he overstepped his boundaries. His friend did say that he was deeply hurt by missing out on Kyra's life and was trying hard to make up for the things he had done. The restraining order was really making him spiral, and the court has ordered him now to pay child support, so he's in financial trouble and trying to pay me back too. I know my friends are on my side, and so is my family, but I just feel guilty when I look at my daughter and how her mood is down lately. She asks about Charles, and I can't cheer her up, no matter what I do. It's been a tough time for both of us. I think I'll take Kyra and stay with my parents for a bit so that we can be among family. This friend of Charles is also not someone I've met before. He keeps trying to meet up with me so he can talk about the stuff that's been going on, but I don't trust him that much. I've asked one of my friends to do a little digging on this guy. She's crazy good at stalking people online. Don't ask why. If he does seem legit and is concerned about Charles, I could consider speaking to him. The thing is, right now, there's a 15-day temporary restraining order against Charles. I could stop it at the end of the period or continue it. I feel like if it is affecting him that badly and he's learned his lesson, I would be okay with trying to co-parent again. Update 2. My friend did her magic, and this friend of Charles, let's call him F, seems to be legit. There are pictures of them going way back, and from everything she can scrounge off of the internet, this dude is a straight arrow and wouldn't be doing anything untoward, like trying to emotionally manipulate me on his friend's behalf. I texted him back and asked to meet with him and learn more about my ex's emotional state. F was a pretty down-to-earth guy, again reiterating that Charles doesn't know what he's doing. I then had an in-depth conversation with him about what would happen if I let my ex back to co-parent Kyra, how things would move forward, and what he knows his friend wants. I think it's going to be the start of a new dynamic, and I do want to give Charles a second chance after all of this. After the temporary restraining order ends, I will sit down and have a conversation with my ex and see how things go from there. I know there's a lot of trust in my gut feeling when it comes to this, but I need to make an informed choice before I legally deny my daughter's dad the right to see her, especially when it's clear that he does care for her now. Update 3. Hey everyone, sorry about missing out on an update for so long. It's been almost a month. Things with Charles are super good now, and my instincts did turn out to be right. When we met, he wholeheartedly apologized for enforcing his ideas onto me and creating a toxic environment during the court case. Since then, I've slowly reintroduced him to Kyra's life, and he's been respectful of my time and the way I'm raising her. I know a lot of you said that it wouldn't work out, but I genuinely think my ex learned his lesson. Charles is also in a better place financially, and we've worked out an arrangement for child support that can be managed by him too. Overall, I think there are no bad feelings between us. Charles said that he got where I was coming from with the restraining order because he looks back on his actions that day with a lot of sadness and disgust. With his justification, I do think that there's an understanding between us about everything that happened. ESH. Charles overstepped for a man who abandoned his daughter. You are super petty about the court case, and from the way you described it, it seems like you escalated the situation on purpose. Also, I wouldn't bring my deadbeat ex back into my life. But you do you. NTA, I do think you did the right thing based on the information you had, and you did it with your daughter's interests at heart. When F reached out to you, it was a signal that maybe Charles had learned his lesson, and you cautiously confirmed that. I hope that you and your ex can co-parent Kyra well from now on. Next story. I, 32, female, have 2 daughters, 6 female and 3 female. Both my husband and I have very lucrative degrees, so we've been able to cut down hours to focus on being a family and still make a good living. I love being a mother, and I've always dreamt of being one. I put a lot of effort into being the best mother I can. People tend to compliment me on aspects of my parenting or how independent and responsible my 6-year-old is. I also got a younger brother, 20, male. He got a girl pregnant 8-ish months ago. My whole family except me is pro-life. He convinced the girl to keep the baby, and as she didn't want to raise it, he made her sign away parental rights and promised to take care of the kid. My whole family congratulated him on making the right choice. I advised him to rethink, but it's his choice in the end. A couple of weeks ago at a family function, we were planning on trying for our 3rd kid soon, and we will probably stop there as we only want 3 kids. My brother later called me and asked me to talk about something and if he could drop by my house because he wanted to discuss something. I agreed. Today he showed up with my parents, and between the 3 of them told me they got this great idea about how I should take my brother's kid. They explained it as if they were doing me a favor because they knew I wanted a 3rd kid and I could just take him in without going through a 3rd pregnancy. They also explained how my brother wanted to finish his degree and couldn't do that whilst raising a kid, so this was the best alternative for both of us. I told them I didn't know and that I needed more time to think about it, but that I didn't feel comfortable in the position I was being put in because raising a kid is not something to be taken lightly. They were disappointed in my answer, and after they left, the 3 of them separately sent me a wall of text telling me to make the right choice and not deny love to a kid just because I'm being selfish. I do not feel comfortable raising my brother's kid, but I can't explain a non-selfish reason why I don't want to. I like having biological kids. I feel one of our kids being actually my brother's kid would add such a complex family dynamic I don't feel ready to face. And somehow I just don't feel it's fair. It's so easy to get all the pats on the back for saving a kid's life when you are not going to be the one to take responsibility in the end. I am helping perpetuate a family dynamic I feel has been going on for ages. When I told my husband, he told me they are absolutely mental and should respect my reasons for not wanting to do something like this. But I still feel guilty because I am capable of taking care of the kid. And if I don't step up, I don't know what the fate of that kid will be. AITA? NTA, your brother talked a girl out of abortion because what? He was expecting his family to care for it? No. It would be wise to sit down and explain to him that you are not going to raise a child he and your parents decided was better off with one parent, as that was the road they were going down before they knew you wanted a third child. NTA, this isn't a situation where the kid's family all died and you're the best choice to take care of the kid. Your brother wanted to keep this baby. He agreed to take on all of the responsibility. Now that it's slightly inconvenient, he wants to back out of being a dad? You're definitely not in the wrong here. Next story. I'm raging, but I realize I need some perspective. I'm 25, female. My birthday is today. I've never been a big surprise party person. I like to celebrate my birthday by usually doing something a bit quieter that I know I'll really enjoy. In light of this, I bought tickets for this Friday to see my favorite band. Bought them almost a full year ago. When I say favorite band, I mean #1 played artist on my Spotify for the past 5 years. Cried in the shower and know the lyrics to every song's favorite band. But I've never seen them live, and I've had a year to plan. Even got myself a cute little concert outfit. Skip to 3 weeks ago, I mentioned something to my flatmate about how excited I am for the 31st, and long story short, she spills the beans that my friend paid for something for that day, and said I should cancel my plans. The first issue here is I'm worried about what they have planned. The friend who apparently paid for this surprise birthday thing is big into getting tables at these London clubs, and that's very sweet, but I'm just not that kind of girl. And I was waiting for a year for this concert. When I expressed my concerns, just politely saying that I wish someone had asked if I was free, I was met with a surprising lack of sympathy and again told to cancel whatever I had going on. The second issue, because I still want to do something small with my friends for my birthday, I made dinner reservations weeks ago for the day after the concert, Saturday. I told them all, and they all said they were looking forward to it, and I mentioned it more than once. Even talked to one of them about it 2 days ago. I found out today that all three of them made plans without me for Saturday. They're going to a game together. Everyone forgot about the dinner. No one invited me. No one's doing anything tonight for me either. Not that I needed anything, but who wants to spend their 25th birthday alone? I'd really rather go to the concert and say screw them. Would I be the a-hole if I just ghosted them and ditched my own birthday surprise? NTA, you bought your tickets 1 year ago and planned all for your birthday. You made dinner reservations for your friends for the next day and told them. They planned a surprise party for you without thinking about asking you what you were doing next Friday. They also planned on ditching you on the dinner that you planned and already told them. By the way, why didn't they invite you to join them? I think you'd be NTA whether you decide to change your plans or not. If you've got plans you're excited about and you've been talking about them, nobody can reasonably expect you to change them. I was actually in a pretty similar situation for one of my own birthdays. I just wanted to spend it with my family. But what I didn't know is that some coworkers were planning an office surprise party. I ended up taking my birthday off work, and they simply rescheduled it. I was going to take the new date off too, but my wife, who they'd been coordinating with, told me what was going on. So I went in and acted surprised on the rescheduled date. It's your day. Think over everything, including all the consequences of the different choices, and do what'll make you happiest. Do post an update, regardless, please. I'd like to know how this works out. Oh, and happy birthday. Edit. If you're not changing your plans, then I would try to make it clear to your flatmate that you're not changing them, period. The end. Game over. That way, people could have an opportunity to reschedule, get a deposit back, or whatever. In your shoes, if I didn't do that, I'd feel I was being unreasonably spiteful. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.